first thing we're going to talk about is your feet and your ankles, okay? And now this is important because your feet and your ankles are the first point of contact with the ground. If you are a runner, if you play field sports, if you literally do anything, you use your feet. I guess maybe, I'm sure there's some sports, if you're an e-gamer, you play video games, you probably don't need your feet as much, but these are so important. Everything that has to do with your feet in terms of your balance, your running, your jumping, your ability to sprint, to change direction, your ability to have good posture standing upright starts with the feet and ankles, okay? Now, that's how it should be and that's why it's important, but let's talk about what they are. So your feet are a collection of bones, a lot like your hand, but different things. You've got your tarsals, your metatarsals. Your tarsals are the bones in the bottom of your foot. So we'll take a little trip down. Your tarsals are the bones in the bottom of your foot. Your metatarsals are the bones that are in the middle of your foot, and then you've got your phalanges, which are the little toes. You've got 5 of those, hopefully, right? And that interfaces with the ankle and the shin. So all of these form what's essentially a hinge joint. Now, obviously with the ankle, you can rotate, you can do circles, you can do left and right, but within that, you want to think about the fact that your foot is not just this piece of meat that's there. Your foot is a living, breathing thing that engages with the ground. Now, if you can't wiggle your toes, if you can't spread your toes out, if you can't move those well independently, that's a problem. That would be like me saying, hey, I want you to write your name on a piece of paper, and you go, I would, but I can't open my fingers up, I can't hold the pencil. That would be a problem, and you're not okay with that, so don't let that be the case with your feet. Now, what you want to think about is what your feet should do. How can you tell they're healthy? So there's a few things. First thing we want to think, there's a few ranges of motion. One is called dorsiflexion. I don't know why they called it that, but it is what it is. And that's essentially your ability to push your knee over your toe. So that is your ability to flex your knee and push this, right? This is what you would see in the bottom of a squat, right? The opposite of that is plantar flexion, where you are sitting back on your heel and extending, okay? So this is where you are essentially pointing your toe. So you plantar flex, you dorsiflex. Now, we can look past that and say there's inversion, where we are turning our foot in, and eversion. So there's inversion and eversion, where you're rotating the feet in and out. And then we want to think about the fact that there is rotation. So this is kind of a mixture of all of those. So there's inversion, eversion. You're making smooth circles. This is the combination of those, okay? So within that, your toes can also move. You can have flexion of the toes, you can have extension. Big toe flexion, little toes flexion. You can have different movements. All of these are very valuable and very important. Now, let's talk about what to do if you don't have good movement there. The first and foremost thing you can do is improve the footwear on what you're wearing. And you notice I've got these silly little shoes with the 5 fingers. You don't have to do those, but you do need to spend more time without shoes, because if I always wore a baseball glove, my fingers would not have good dexterity. So if I'm always wearing shoes that kind of squeeze my toes in, guess what? You're going to lose the ability to move your toes, move your feet well. So the first and best thing you can do is get more motion in your feet. The easiest way to do that is when you're lifting or training, take your shoes off. It's easy and it helps to form balance and engagement because your feet are actively working with the ground. If people think about balance, they think, oh, I've just got to find the spot. Like they think about balancing like you have a book that's on top of a table. It needs to be balanced on even sides so it doesn't fall over. It's different with your feet and your ankles because those are actively engaging with the ground. So take your shoes off, spend more time barefoot, and think about actually moving your toes and your feet. Then you can work on calf raises, you can work on all kinds of movements, engaging your toes. You can do a single leg work, unilateral work, barefoot strides. These things are all really valuable and they will help change the way you interface with your feet. One of the things that people see all the time is really tight and stiff calves. And now you can sit there and you can roll your ankle, you can roll your calves out with foam rollers and the crossballs all you want, but nothing is going to improve that as much as working on your feet. So it's similar to the forearm. So you see, if I move my forearm, my fingers, the muscles in my forearm are actually what move my hands and my fingers. Same thing with the feet. The muscles in and around your calves are what go down, wrap around the ankle and form the arch and form the foot. So if your calves are really stiff and tight, odds are it's because you don't have good motion and good movement in the feet. So the best thing you could do for this ankle is think about it like a rusty hinge. You need 1,000 reps with a little bit of WD-40 to improve that range of motion over and over and over again. And the best thing you can do is to start to put your feet on flat ground and then work on improving that over and over again, okay? The more exposure you get there, the better the movement will be and the better your calves will improve.